You are not tired. You are not unlucky. You are not just going through a rough patch. You are leaking. You are bleeding power from 1,000 tiny cuts that you don't even see. And because you cannot see them, you cannot heal them. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, you have already lost the first battle of the day. You reach for the phone. You let the world rush into your brain before you have even established your own borders. You drink the anxiety of strangers. You scroll through the highlight reels of people who don't care if you live or die, and you wonder why by 10 a.m. you feel exhausted, overwhelmed, heavy. The truth is brutal, and I need you to hear it clearly, because nobody else loves you enough to say it to your face. You are not in control of your life, because you are not in control of yourself. You are a passenger in your own body, reacting to every bump in the road, every sudden turn, every red light. If the traffic is bad, your day is ruined. If your boss is rude, your self-worth crumbles. If the bank account looks low, your anxiety spikes to a fever pitch. You are a leaf blowing in the wind, claiming you want to go north, but letting every gust of breeze blow you south, east, and west. And this ends today. We are going to have a conversation about the only 4 things that actually matter. The only 4 levers you can pull to stop this drift and anchor yourself in the bedrock of reality. We are going to talk about your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. But this isn't a checklist. This isn't some cute morning routine you try for 3 days and then quit. This is surgery. We are going to open up the machinery of your psychology and look at why you keep self-sabotaging, why you keep saying you want to win but act like you want to lose. It starts with the terrifying realization that your mind is not currently your friend. It is a wild animal that you have been feeding the wrong things for decades. You have trained your mind to be distracted. You have trained your mind to seek comfort. You have trained your mind to fear pain. And now, when you need it to be a warrior, it is hiding in the corner. To win in every situation, not just the easy ones, but the ones where your back is against the wall and the lights go out, you have to retrain the pilot. Let's look at the first traitor in your camp, your mouth. Most people think their mouth is just for communication. That is a lie. Your mouth is the architect of your reality. Every time you speak, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And right now, many of you are voting for a victim. Listen to the words you use. I can't. It's too hard. They won't let me. I'm tired. These aren't just descriptions of your day. They are commands to your subconscious. When you say, I am tired, your brain, which is the most powerful supercomputer on earth, stops looking for energy and starts looking for a place to lie down. It obeys you. It always obeys you. The ancient Stoics, the modern psychologists, the billionaire moguls, they all agree on one terrifying truth. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. It is biologically impossible. When you gossip, when you complain, when you speak ill of others, you are not hurting them. You are poisoning your own well. You are training your mind to focus on the negative, the broken, the lack. And what you focus on expands, it grows, it takes over. There is a concept called cognitive dissonance. It happens when your actions don't match your beliefs. But there is something even deeper. When your words don't match your potential. You say you want to be wealthy, but you complain about the price of a book that could teach you how. You say you want a strong relationship, but you speak harsh words that act like arrows. Once they leave your mouth, they can never be gathered back. You have to understand that your words are a form of energy. If you are constantly leaking this energy through complaints, gossip, and excuses, you have no fuel left for the engine of your life. Silence is often the first step to mastery. If you cannot control what comes out of your mouth, you cannot control what goes on in your head. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful person in the room is often the quietest? They are not quiet because they have nothing to say. They are quiet because they are assessing. They are calculating. They are conserving their power. They know that every word must earn its way out. Stop telling everyone your plans. Stop announcing your moves. The dopamine hit you get from telling people I'm going to start a business is a cheap drug. It tricks your brain into thinking you've already done the work. You haven't done anything. You've just talked. Kill the announcement. Do the work in the dark. Let the results speak. That is the discipline of the mouth, but the mouth is just the gatekeeper. The real storm happens inside. This brings us to the second pillar, your mood. We live in a society that worships feelings. We are told to follow our feelings, to honor our truth. But here is the dangerous reality. Your feelings are transient. They are weather. They change like the wind. If you base your life on your mood, you will build on quicksand. You cannot build a legacy on I don't feel like it. Winning in every situation requires you to decouple your performance from your feelings. This is what separates the amateur from the professional. The amateur works when they feel inspired. The amateur treats people well when they are in a good mood. The professional shows up and delivers excellence even when they are grieving, even when they are exhausted, even when they are terrified. Think about the pilot of an airplane. When the turbulence hits, when the storm rages and the alarms start blaring, do you want a pilot who reacts with mood? Do you want a pilot who screams, cries, or gets angry at the wind? No. You want a pilot who feels the fear but acts with precision. You want a pilot who has trained their mind to be stronger than their emotions. You are the pilot of your life. But right now, you are letting the passengers fly the plane. Your emotions, fear, anger, jealousy, insecurity are banging on the cockpit door, and you are letting them in to take the wheel. This is why you lash out at your spouse when you've had a bad day at work. This is why you impulse buy things you don't need when you feel sad. You are trying to medicate a mood instead of mastering it. The Stoics had a word for this, apatheia. It doesn't mean apathy or not caring. It means being unshakable. It means that your inner peace is a fortress that the outside world cannot breach. Someone insults you, that is their problem, a reflection of their character, not yours. You lose money, it is a preferred indifferent, nice to have, but not essential to your character. When you realize that nothing outside of you has the authority to disturb your inner world without your permission, you become dangerous. You become unrecognizable. Imagine the power you would have if you couldn't be offended. Just imagine it. If someone cut you off in traffic and you didn't even blink, if your boss criticized your work and instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you looked at the feedback objectively, took the lesson, and discarded the hurt, that is freedom. That is the neurobiology of situational dominance. It's the ability to widen the gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, there is a choice. The stimulus happens, the bad news, the insult, the failure. Most people react instantly. They are robots programmed by their trauma. But you are going to learn to pause. You are going to breathe into that gap. And in that silence, you choose a response that serves your future, not your ego. You choose dignity over drama. You choose solution over suffering. But how can you control your mood if your environment is chaos? You can't. Which is why we have to talk about the resource that dominates your environment, your money. Now pause. Notice your reaction to that word. Did you tense up? Did you feel a wave of shame or greed or defensiveness? Your reaction to money tells me everything about your level of self-control. Money is not just currency. It is a magnifying glass. If you are undisciplined, money will make you reckless. If you are anxious, money will make you paranoid. But if you are wise, money becomes a tool for freedom. The problem is not that you don't earn enough. The problem is that you don't respect what you have. You treat money like it's something to be gotten rid of. As soon as it touches your hands, you trade it for temporary pleasures, for the mood, for the mouth. You buy things to impress people you don't like. You buy things to fill a void in your soul that no object can fill. This is the consumer trap. They have hacked your dopamine receptors to make you believe that the next purchase will finally make you happy. It won't. It never does. It just moves the goalpost. To win in every situation, you must regain sovereignty over your resources. This requires the pain of discipline. It requires delayed gratification. This is the marshmallow test for adults. Can you suffer a little bit today? Drive the older car, cook the meal at home, wear the same clothes so that you can be free tomorrow? Most people fail this test every single day. They choose the immediate pleasure and mortgage their future. There is a rule, the 50-30-20 rule. And while the math is simple, the psychology is hard. It asks you to look at your life and say, no to the impulse, no to the ego, no to the marketing. When you start controlling your money, you start controlling your time. And when you control your time, you can no longer be bought. Think about the leverage you have when you have 6 months of expenses in the bank. Your boss can't bully you because you don't need the paycheck next Friday to survive. You can walk away from a toxic negotiation. You can speak your truth. Financial discipline is not about being a miser. It is about buying your spine back. It's about being able to stand tall because you are not a servant to your debt. But here is the catch. You can't control your mouth. You can't stabilize your mood. And you can't master your money if the commander, the mind, is weak. Your mind is the generator of it all. And right now, your mind is under siege. We are living in the age of the attention economy. Trillion-dollar algorithms are fighting a war for your eyes, your clicks, and your focus. And you are losing. You are losing because you are fighting tanks with sticks and stones. You sit down to work, to create, to build your dream, and ding a notification. You check it. You lose focus. It takes 23 minutes to get back into a state of deep flow, but you check your phone every 10 minutes. Do the math. You are never in flow. You are operating in a state of frenetic shallowness. You are busy, yes. You are exhausted, yes. But you are not productive. You are not moving the needle. To train your mind to win, you have to embrace the concept of deep work. This is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It is a superpower in the 21st century because almost no one can do it anymore. Their brains have been rewired by short-form content to have the attention span of a goldfish. If you can train yourself to sit in a room alone with no phone, no music, no internet, and focus on one hard problem for 2 hours, you will own the future. You will produce work that is so valuable it cannot be ignored. But to do this, you have to conquer the itch. The itch to be entertained. The itch to be stimulated. The itch to run away from the difficulty. This is where the lotus method comes in. The lotus flower blooms in the mud. It doesn't wait for a clean environment. It pushes through the filth to find the sun. Your mind must be the same. You cannot wait for the perfect conditions to focus. You must train your focus through the resistance. Napoleon Hill talked about repetition as the sculptor of destiny. You don't just decide to be focused one day, you practice it. You fail. You bring your mind back, you fail again. You bring it back. It is a muscle. Every time you resist the urge to check social media, you are doing a rep. Every time you stay in the problem when it gets hard, you are adding weight to the bar. And you must guard the inputs of your mind with your life. If you wanted to run a high-performance race car, would you pour sand into the gas tank? No, you would put in the highest octane fuel available. Yet you wake up and pour fear, division, gossip, and idiocy into your brain through the screen in your hand, and then you wonder why the engine is sputtering. You wonder why you have anxiety. You are consuming poison and expecting health. You have to stand at the gates of your mind like a soldier. You have to decide what gets in. Is this true? Is this helpful? Is this necessary? If not, it stays out. You have to kill the negative thinking not by fighting it, but by starving it. Don't water the weeds, water the flowers. We are talking about becoming unrecognizable. Jim Rohn said that if you want to have more, you have to become more. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. And who you become is determined by these 4 battles. The battle of the mouth, the battle of the mood, the battle of the money, and the battle of the mind. Imagine yourself 7 days from now, just 1 week. If you kept your mouth shut and only spoke with purpose, if you caught every negative emotion and transmuted it into focus, if you stopped spending on impulses and started respecting your resources, if you engaged in deep, focused work for just 2 hours a day, who would you be? You wouldn't recognize yourself. The people around you wouldn't recognize you. They would ask, what happened to you? and you would look them in the eye with that calm, steady, terrifying stillness of a master and say, I woke up. But waking up is painful. The light hurts your eyes. The realization of how much time you have wasted will hurt your heart. Good. Let it hurt. Let the pain burn away the rot. Let the regret be the fuel that starts the engine. You have been sleepwalking for too long. You have been a slave to your impulses for too long. There is a neurobiological switch in your brain called the no-go function. It's the part of the brain responsible for inhibiting action. It's the brain. In a world that is always screaming, go, 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 buy, 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 click, 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 your power lies in your ability to say no. No to the distraction. No to the emotional outburst. No to the laziness. No to the excuses. Every time you say no to the lower version of yourself, you are saying yes to the higher version. You are carving out a new identity. Denzel Washington said, discipline is doing what you have to do when you have to do it, whether you feel like it or not. That is the code. There is no secret sauce. There is no magic pill. There is only the brutal daily grind of self-mastery. You have to fall in love with the boredom of consistency. The winners, the elite, the top 1%, they don't have better lives than you. They have better habits. They don't have less pain. They have a different relationship with pain. They see pain as information, not as a stop sign. When they feel resistance, they know they are going in the right direction. When you start to control your mind, you realize that the world is not happening to you, it is happening for you, but only if you are awake to see it. Look at the story of the man who spills the water. The guru gives the boy a glass filled to the brim and tells him to walk through a crowded market without spilling a drop. The boy walks, terrified, focused, sweat pouring down his face. People are screaming, music is playing, chaos is everywhere. He comes back, the glass is full. The guru asks, did you hear the drunk man yelling? The boy says no. Did you see the beautiful fabrics? The boy says no. Why? Because I was focused on the water. Your life is the glass of water. The chaos, the insults, the economy, the politics, the drama, that is the market. If you spill your peace, if you spill your purpose, it is not because the market was loud. It is because your focus was weak. You have to train your mind to hold the water. This requires a level of honesty that most people are not ready for. You have to look in the mirror, not the one in your bathroom, but the one in your soul, and admit where you are weak. You have to admit that you are addicted to comfort. You have to admit that you are afraid of your own potential. David Goggins talks about the accountability mirror. You stand there and you tell yourself the truth. I am lazy. I am out of shape. I am wasting my talent. It's not about self-hatred. It's about establishing a baseline. You cannot use a map if you don't know where you are standing. Once you know where you are, you can chart the path to where you are going. And where you are going is a place of situational dominance. Situational dominance means that no matter what room you walk into, no matter what crisis lands on your desk, you are the stabilizing force. You are the eye of the hurricane. While everyone else is panicking, you are observing. While everyone else is complaining, you are solving. While everyone else is spending, you are building. This state of being is not inherited, it is forged. It is forged in the fires of voluntary hardship. You have to choose to do hard things when you don't have to, so that you can do impossible things when you must. You have to train your impulse control like a boxer trains his reflex. When the urge to quit arises, and it will arise every single day, you have to have a counterpunch ready. That counterpunch is your why, but not a vague why, a visceral, burning why. Why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? What is the cost of staying the same? Visualize that cost. Close your eyes and see yourself in 5 years if you change nothing. See the health problems, see the broken relationships, see the bank account draining, see the look of disappointment in the eyes of the people who believed in you. Feel that pain. Let it scare you. Now open your eyes. You are still here. You still have time, but the clock is ticking. The time for negotiating with yourself is over. You can't negotiate with laziness. You can't negotiate with fear. You have to kill them. You have to execute the weak thoughts the moment they enter your mind. This is a war. It is the only war that matters. It is the war for your potential, and you are winning or losing it with every thought, every word, every dollar, and every mood. Don't you dare give up on the person you are capable of becoming. Don't you dare settle for a life of quiet desperation. You were built for more. You were built to dominate. You were built to lead. But first, you must lead yourself. Control your mouth. Control your mood. Control your money. Control your mind. If you can do this, if you can truly lock this in, the world will not just open its doors to you, it will tear them off the hinges. But be warned, the moment you decide to change, the resistance will double. Your old habits will fight back. Your old friends will try to drag you down. The world will test your resolve. It will ask you, are you sure? And you must be ready to answer, yes, that is the only answer. You look that resistance in the eye, you look at the mountain of old habits, the years of excuses, the comfort of your mediocrity, and you say, yes, I am ready to die to who I was so that I can live as who I am meant to be. The moment you cross that line, the real work begins. And let me be clear, this is not a montage. This is not a movie scene with high energy music where you work out for 30 seconds and suddenly you're a billionaire with six-pack abs. This is the grind. This is the unglamorous, silent, lonely work of rewiring a brain that has been addicted to cheap dopamine for years. You are performing neurosurgery on yourself without anesthesia while the world tries to hand you a sedative. It starts with the concept of the no-go. Neuroscience tells us that we have a function in our brain responsible for action, the go function. It's easy. It's the impulse to eat the cake, to buy the shoes, to scream at the driver who cut you off. But the elite, the top 1% of the 1%, they are masters of the no-go. This is the braking system of the prefrontal cortex. It is the biological mechanism of discipline. And yours is rusty. You have to train this brake like a muscle. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, your brain will scream, snooze. It will give you 1,000 logical reasons why you need 5 more minutes. The no-go function is the voice that whispers no to the comfort. You don't negotiate, you don't debate, you move, you put your feet on the cold floor. That is 1 rep, that is 1 curl for the brain. Later you're working, the phone buzzes, the dopamine centers light up, they crave the notification, the no-go steps in, you look at the phone, you feel the itch, and you refuse to scratch it. You turn it over. You stare at the blank screen of your work. The boredom sets in. It feels like physical pain. Good. That pain is weakness leaving the body. That pain is your attention span growing back. This brings us to the weapon of the modern warrior, deep work. We talked about the attention economy. They are mining your focus like it's gold, and you are giving it away for free. To win, you must build a bunker. You need to carve out blocks of time, 90 minutes, 2 hours, where you are unreachable. No Wi-Fi, no messages, just you and the hardest task on your list. At first, you will hate it. Your mind will thrash around like a trapped bird. It will look for any escape, a snack, a bathroom break, a sudden need to clean your desk. You must sit there. You must hold the line. This is cognitive conditioning. You are forcing your brain to bypass the shallow circuits and engage the deep, heavy machinery of critical thinking. This is where value is created. This is where masterpieces are written, where businesses are built, where complex problems are solved, while the rest of the world is multitasking, which is just a fancy word for doing everything poorly. You are going deep. You are entering the flow state. And when you emerge from that bunker after 2 hours of pure, unadulterated focus, you will have accomplished more than your competition does in 2 weeks. That is not an exaggeration. That is the math of leverage. But you cannot sustain this level of mental output if your emotional engine is overheating. You have to master the mood. And this isn't about being happy. Happiness is a byproduct. It is not the goal. The goal is equanimity. The goal is a mood that is bulletproof. You will face rejection. You will face failure. You will look at your bank account and see a number that scares you. The amateur lets these external events hijack their internal chemistry. They spiral. They lose a day, a week, a month to depression or anxiety. The professional uses cognitive reframing. This is a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy but it is also the oldest trick in the Stoic handbook. When a negative thought enters your mind, I'm never going to make it, you catch it. You don't let it slide, you grab it by the throat and you interrogate it. Is this true? Is this useful? What is the evidence? You realize that the thought is just a thought. It is not reality. It is a glitch, and you rewrite the code. You change I'm never going to make it to I am currently learning how to make it. And this failure is just data. You strip the emotion out of the event and you look at the mechanics. Why did I fail? What variable was missing? Fix the variable. Try again. This is how you cultivate mental toughness. It is not about having thick skin. It is about having a flexible mind. It's about being like water. You cannot break water. You can hit it with a hammer and it just reforms. You have to become so fluid in your adaptation that the world cannot break you because you do not offer it a rigid surface to strike. And you must apply this same ruthlessness to your money. We are going to stop looking at money as a source of stress and start looking at it as a source of energy. Every dollar you waste on something you don't need is a soldier you just sent to die for no reason. You are the general of your resources. The 50-30-20 rule is a good baseline, but for you, for the person who wants to win in every situation, we need to go deeper. We need zero-based budgeting. You give every single dollar a job before the month begins. You don't wait to see what's left over. You command the capital. You tell this dollar it is for rent. You tell this dollar it is for investment. You tell this dollar it is for your education. And then you practice the dark art of delayed gratification. You see the shoes, you see the car, you feel the desire, and you say, not yet. You take that desire and you transmute it into drive. You use the hunger for the reward to fuel the work required to buy the reward 10 times over. Rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities. But the wealthy, the truly wealthy, they buy time. They buy autonomy. When you save that first $10,000, you haven't just saved money. You have saved functioning capital. You have bought yourself the ability to say no to a bad deal. You have bought the ability to weather a storm without panic. You are building a fortress brick by brick, dollar by dollar. And inside that fortress, your mind can operate without fear. Now let's talk about the mouth again. Because in the grind, your mouth can be your worst enemy or your greatest spy. The most dangerous thing you can do is talk about work you haven't done. It dissipates the energy, it tricks the brain. Shut it down. But there is another side to the mouth, active listening. To win in every situation, you must be the most informed person in the room. You cannot learn while you are talking. You must train yourself to listen, not just to the words, but to the subtext, to the fear behind the aggression, to the hesitation behind the promise. This is emotional intelligence in action. When someone is screaming at you, when a client is angry, when a partner is upset, the amateur defends, the amateur interrupts. But, no, you breathe, you listen, you let them empty their clip, you look them in the eye completely calm, and you ask a question. Help me understand why you feel that way. You just flip the dynamic. You are no longer the target. You are the doctor. You are diagnosing the problem. You have taken control of the interaction by surrendering the need to be heard first. This is situational dominance. It is soft, it is quiet, and it is devastatingly effective. But all of this, the focus, the budget, the silence, it requires a vision. You cannot endure the pain of the grind if you don't know what you are building. This is where visualization stops being a buzzword and starts being a technical skill. Athletes do this. They don't just imagine winning. They visualize the texture of the tennis ball. They visualize the sound of the crowd. They visualize the feeling of their lungs burning in the final lap. They visualize the mistake and the correction. You need to run a mental simulation of your success every single morning, but not just the trophy. I want you to visualize the obstacles, visualize the fatigue, visualize the moment you want to quit, and then visualize yourself keeping going. This is coping imagery. You are preloading your brain with the solution to the problems you haven't even faced yet. So when the problem actually hits on a Tuesday afternoon, your brain doesn't panic. It says, oh, I recognize this. We've been here before. I know what to do. You have already lived the victory in your mind 1,000 times, so the reality is just a formality. You are building a growth mindset. You are destroying the idea that you are fixed. I'm not good with numbers. Lie. You are lazy with numbers. Learn. I'm not a morning person. Lie. You are undisciplined with your sleep. Adjust. I'm too emotional. Lie. You are untrained in regulation. Train. There is no I am. There is only I am becoming. And the person you are becoming is forged in the fires of voluntary discomfort. The modern world makes you soft. The air conditioning, the soft beds, the endless food, you must seek out friction. You must take the cold shower, not because it's good for your skin, but because it sucks. You must fast for 16 hours, not for the diet, but to remind your hunger that it is not in charge. You must run in the rain. Why? Because when life hits you with involuntary discomfort, the divorce, the firing, the illness, you will not crumble. You will recognize the cold. You will recognize the hunger. You will recognize the pain. And you will say, hello, old friend. I know you, and I can outlast you. This is the Stoic concept of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds dark, but it is the source of light. By preparing for the worst, you are free to give your best. You are not walking on eggshells, terrified of something breaking. You are walking on concrete, knowing that even if the roof caves in, you will dig your way out. Listen to me closely. You are currently operating at maybe 40% of your potential. David Goggins calls this the 40% rule. When your mind tells you you are done, that you are exhausted, that you cannot take another step, you are only 40% done. You have a reserve tank that is deep and vast, but you have never tapped it because you stop at the first sign of discomfort. You have to push past that wall. That is where the gold is. That is where the second wind lives. It is a physiological reality. If you stay in the fight long enough, your body will give you the energy, but you have to prove to your body that you are not stopping. You have to become a creature of habit. Motivation is a feeling. Habit is a machine. You can't rely on feeling like it. Do you think the Olympic swimmer feels like jumping in a cold pool at 4 a.m. every day for 4 years? No. They do it because they are the kind of person who does it. It is identity. You need to build a ritual of excellence. How do you start your day? Do you let the world punch you in the face with emails and news? Or do you own the first hour? The first hour is the rudder of the day. If the rudder is shaky, the ship goes in circles. Hydrate, move, read, plan, silence. Before you give a piece of yourself to anyone else, to your boss, to your kids, to your spouse, you fill your own cup. You sharpen your own sword, because you cannot protect anyone if you are weak. You cannot provide for anyone if you are empty. Self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. It is you loving your future self enough to sacrifice your present comfort. And as you do this, as you stack these days, one on top of the other, something terrifying and beautiful starts to happen. You stop relating to the people you used to hang out with. The conversations about gossip, about complaints, about the game last night, they start to sound like noise. They start to bore you. You will feel a distance growing. You will feel lonely. This is the valley of isolation, and it is a necessary place. It is the cocoon. You cannot take everyone with you. You cannot drag people up the mountain who don't want to climb. You have to be willing to walk alone for a while. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. They will say you've changed. They will say you're obsessed. They will say you are too intense. Good. Obsessed is the word the lazy use to describe the dedicated. Intense is the word the weak use to describe the strong. Let them talk. You are not building a life for their approval. You are building a life for your own respect. Focus on the process. Fall in love with the boredom. Jim Rohn said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It is the discipline of tracking your every dollar. It is the discipline of pausing before you speak. It is the discipline of analyzing your mood before you act on it. It is the discipline of sitting in the chair until the work is done. There is a concept called compound interest. We know it in finance, but it applies to everything. The work you do today, the extra hour of study, the dollar saved, the moment of patience, it doesn't just add up. It multiplies, it compounds. For 5 years, you water it, and you see nothing. The ground looks the same, but underground, the root system is spreading. It is anchoring, it is preparing. And then in the 5th year, the tree shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. The world sees the 6 weeks. They say, overnight success. You know the truth. You know about the 5 years of watering dirt. You know about the 5 years of believing when there was no proof. You are in the watering phase right now. Do not stop watering. Do not dig up the seed to see if it's growing. Trust the process. Trust the design. You have the blueprint now. Situational dominance is not a superpower. It is a skill set. It is the neurobiology of the no-go. It is the psychology of the growth mindset. It is the philosophy of stoicism. It is the economics of delayed gratification. You have the tools, but tools are useless in the hands of a coward. Tools are useless if they sit in the toolbox. You have to pick them up. You have to swing the hammer until your hands bleed. And then you have to tape them up and swing again. The shift is happening. Can you feel it? It's the shift from I hope to I will. It's the shift from I'll try to I must. It's the shift from victim to victor. You are waking up. The fog is lifting. You look at your hands and you realize they are strong enough to build whatever you want. You look at your mind and you realize it is sharp enough to learn whatever you need. But remember, the enemy is always watching. The enemy is the old you. The enemy is the path of least resistance. It is waiting for you to slip. It is waiting for you to celebrate too early. It is waiting for a moment of weakness to whisper, just this once. You must be vigilant. You must be a sentinel at the gate of your own soul. This is not a sprint. This is an ultramarathon through hell. But you are fireproof now. You are water now. You are iron now. Get ready. The easy part is over. The talking is almost done. The silence is coming. The work is coming. The pain is coming. And you are going to smile at it. You are going to welcome it, because you know that on the other side of that pain, is the only thing that makes life worth living: freedom. Not the freedom you see in commercials, with people lying on beaches doing nothing. That is the freedom of a child. I am talking about the freedom of a king. I am talking about the freedom of a creator. The freedom that comes from knowing deep in the marrow of your bones that you can handle anything. This is the victory. It is not a trophy. It is not a check. It is a state of being. It is the moment you walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts, not because you said anything, but because of who you are. You stop chasing success. You stop begging for opportunities. You stop trying to convince people of your value. When you have mastered your mouth, mastered your mood, mastered your money, and mastered your mind, you become a magnet. The universe has a very specific law. It bends to the will of the disciplined. When you are no longer leaking energy, when you are no longer distracted by the noise, you become a force of nature. Resources find you. Allies find you. Wealth finds you. Not because you are lucky, but because you are ready. Napoleon Hill called this the vibration of success. It is a frequency, and you cannot fake this frequency. You cannot Instagram this frequency. You have to earn it in the dark so you can radiate it in the light. Think about the feeling of walking down the street knowing you have zero debt, knowing your body is a machine that obeys your commands, knowing your emotions are tools, not tyrants, knowing your mind is a sanctuary of focus. That feeling, that is true power. That is the situational dominance we have been chasing. It means you are safe. You are safe because you are dangerous. You are safe because you have built the walls, filled the moat, and trained the archers. And when you reach this level, the game changes. You stop playing for yourself. This is where the story shifts from success to significance. You see, a lot of you are doing this for your last name. You are doing this to break a generational curse. You are doing this because you saw your parents struggle, you saw them crushed by debt, you saw them broken by stress, and you made a vow to the heavens that it stops with you. Well, this is how you keep that vow. You don't keep it by wishing. You keep it by becoming the example. Your children, they don't listen to your mouth. They watch your life. If you tell them to be strong, but you crumble under pressure, they will crumble. If you tell them to be wise with money, but you buy things to impress strangers, they will be broke. You are the prototype. You are the standard. When you control your mind, you give permission to everyone around you to control theirs. You become a lighthouse in a storm. And God knows this world is a storm. People are drowning in anxiety, drowning in debt, drowning in distraction. They are looking for a captain. They are looking for someone who isn't panicking. Be that person. But to be that person, you have to understand that the work never ends. There is no finish line. There is no retirement from self-mastery. The moment you think, I have arrived, you have started to decline. The ego loves to whisper, you've done enough, take a break, you deserve it. Lies. You don't deserve a break from your potential. You deserve to see how far the rabbit hole goes. You deserve to see what lies at the very edge of your capacity. David Goggins talks about the cookie jar, reaching in and reminding yourself of what you've survived. But I want you to build a cookie jar so big it feeds a village. I want you to build a resume of resilience that is so undeniable that when death finally comes to knock on your door, it has to stand back in respect. We are talking about legacy. Legacy is not what you leave for people. It is what you leave in people. It is the mindset you transfer. It is the discipline you instill. It is the emotional intelligence you model. Imagine, just imagine if you actually did this. If you actually locked in. If you stopped dipping your toe in the water and dove all the way to the bottom. Imagine the business you would build. Imagine the books you would write. Imagine the body you would sculpt. Imagine the relationships you would nurture. You are sitting on a gold mine and you are using a plastic spoon to dig. Throw the spoon away. Get the dynamite. The dynamite is your focus. The dynamite is your no. The dynamite is your refusal to accept a life that is anything less than a masterpiece. You have to develop an intolerance for mediocrity. It should make you physically sick to waste time. It should offend your soul to see yourself procrastinating, not because you hate yourself, but because you respect the gift of life too much to squander it. Life is precious. Denzel said it best. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take the money with you. You can't take the house, but you can take the character. You can take the spirit, and you leave behind the story. What is your story going to be? Is it going to be a tragedy? Here lies a man who had potential, but he was too busy scrolling. Here lies a woman who could have changed the world, but she was too afraid of what people thought. Or is it going to be an epic? Here lies a titan. Here lies someone who mastered the chaos. Here lies someone who took the cards they were dealt, the trauma, the poverty, the doubt, and played a royal flush. The choice is yours, and you are making that choice right now, not tomorrow, right now, in the way you are sitting, in the thoughts you are thinking, in what you are going to do. The second this video ends, most of you will click off this video and go right back to sleep. You will get a temporary spike of dopamine. You will feel motivated for 10 minutes, and then you will pick up your phone and scroll. You will let the go function take over. You will slide back into the warm, comfortable mud of your old habits. And if you do that, I feel sorry for you, because you have seen the light and you chose the dark. Ignorance is bliss, but you are no longer ignorant. You know what is required. To turn back now is a tragedy. But some of you, a very small, elite few of you, are listening to this and you are feeling something different. You are not feeling hyped. You are feeling a cold, quiet resolve. You are feeling the click of the lock. You are realizing that the old version of you just died in this chair. You are realizing that you are done negotiating. You are done saying, "I'll try." You are done saying, "Maybe." You are done saying, "One day." You are ready to embrace the boredom of consistency. You are ready to embrace the silence of deep work. You are ready to look at your bank account, your relationships, and your emotions with brutal honesty and say, "I own this. This is the shift. This is the crossing of the Rubicon. There is no boat back. Burn the boats." You have to understand that the world needs you to win. We are facing problems that require strong minds. We need leaders who are not slaves to their impulses. We need fathers and mothers who are emotionally regulated. We need creators who can focus for more than 15 seconds. We need you. But we need the real you, not the watered-down, distracted, fearful version. We need the version of you that has been forged in the fire of discipline. So here is your final instruction. Do not tell anyone what you are going to do. Do not post about it. Do not brag about it. Silence. Go into the dark. Build your walls. Train your mind. Stack your days. When the impulse comes to quit, laugh at it. When the emotion comes to derail you, observe it. When the distraction comes to steal your life, kill it. You are the architect. You are the pilot. You are the master. The next 6 months are going to pass anyway. The time is going to go by. The only question is, who will you be when it arrives? Will you be the same, or will you be unrecognizable? The door is open. The path is clear. The heavy lifting is yours to do. Control your mouth. Control your mood. Control your money. Control your mind. Win. Now, get to work.